You think you're free? Wrong. You're a slave. Let me explain. We live in an age that shouts freedom from every rooftop. Freedom in our politics, freedom in our culture, freedom in our daily choices. But at some point, through empty repetition, we seem to have forgotten what freedom actually is. Somewhere along the way, we began to confuse freedom with entitlement. The arrogant belief that the world owes us unlimited permission to do whatever we please, to take without giving, to demand without earning, to indulge without ever considering the bill that someone else will have to pay. And believe me, we're going to have to pay that bill soon. We've started believing that the absence of rules is the highest form of liberty. But guys, that's like thinking a car without brakes is a more free car. Yeah, it can go anywhere until it crashes. And when it crashes, it doesn't just hurt the driver, it wrecks the road for everyone else. Just like a car needs brakes to protect us on our journey, a society needs boundaries to protect its people. Without them, freedom doesn't last. It explodes. And people, it's about to explode. Mark my words. Unless we act now. So how do we get control of this runaway car? Well, it starts with my favorite person, you. First, take a moment to think about the world around you. People are enslaved. Not by chains, but by addictions. Not only to drugs, but to the endless chatter of screens and the ceaseless scroll of mind-numbing feeds. This is freedom without discipline, without self-restraint. We see loneliness at epidemic levels, even though we're more connected than ever before. This is the poverty of freedom without love, commitment, responsibility. We see Amazon addicts suffocating under mountains of cheap, disposable junk, forgetting that freedom is about living with purpose and using resources wisely to advance meaningful goals. Here's the truth most people run from. Modern freedom is the perfect prison because the bars are invisible. All of this is happening in societies that boast of their freedom. Freedom from what exactly? Freedom from self-control? Freedom from responsibility? Freedom from purpose? What kind of freedom is that? What kind of freedom leaves a person enslaved to impulses, unable to control their own desires, unable to focus on what truly matters? Weird, huh? Well, that's because none of this is freedom. This is slavery, pure and simple. Slavery to our lower animal nature, slavery to our basest, most crude instincts, the parts of ourselves that seek only instant pleasure without thought for consequences or meaning. The same way a dog chases after every passing distraction, unable to think beyond a fleeting moment. In trying to ascend to become our own masters, all we've done is reduce ourselves to having dog brains. The greatest slavery is the one that feels like freedom. We've forgotten what freedom actually is. A man is only free when he is a master over his runaway desires, his animal appetites. The drunkard, the social media junkie, the compulsive spender, the consumerist, the worshiper of cheap luxury, the prisoner of the digital brothel, the Netflix zombie. These aren't free men and women, no matter how many rights they have on paper. They're slaves, and they'll continue to drag their country down into slavery with them. A car without brakes will crash, and a society with no standards is going to collapse. When people refuse to govern their own desires, selfishness spreads like wildfire, trust breaks down. Families fall apart, communities unravel. The bonds that hold a nation together, respect, responsibility, sacrifice, are all torn to shreds. Without these foundations, no society can stand. Chaos fills the void, and the strong prey on the weak. Corruption and decay spread like a disease. True freedom is not the chaos of unrestrained choice, it's the power to master oneself. To say no to the endless temptations that would consume us, so that we have the strength to pursue our higher goals and objectives. Mastery of self requires standards, guidelines, rules of engagement. True freedom means having the foundations to choose what truly serves us and those around us. Not giving into every passing impulse that leads to self-harm or social decay. Come on, man. You know this. I know this. Everybody instinctively knows this is true. I'm trying to tell you this so you'll finally pull yourself out of the muck. Without firm foundations, counterfeit freedom encourages everyone to chase their crude animal impulses, without regard for others. When base cravings rule unchecked, trust breaks down, cooperation fades, and the shared values that hold communities together dissolve, as people put their selfish desires above the common good. Social bonds weaken, laws are ignored, and chaos takes root. In the end, freedom without responsibility doesn't build a society, it enslaves it to its own base selfish desires, the chains growing heavier with time until they drag the whole nation to its knees. A car without brakes will crash. I mean, just look around us, see the cracks forming in our society. Already corruption and selfish infighting are out of control. Politics is a big self-serving clown show. Corporations are victimizing the people. Polarization has led to complete social breakdown. We're slowly dissolving into a pointless every man for himself free-for-all akin to barbarism. It's a world where corporate warlords cannibalize everyone and everything else. Not so they can progress humanity, but so they can each feel like a big man and satisfy their most base urges, whether they be food or sex or whatever. Cultures like this don't produce anything of value. They only consume and destroy and cannibalize until there's nothing left. We've faced challenges like this before, and every time civilization has risen stronger. How? By each individual taking responsibility of himself and harnessing his natural energy towards higher goals. You see, humans are sort of like energy reactors. We possess all of this unique personal energy that animates us into action. It's our job as responsible human beings to harness this power and then direct it at our goals. However, things like scrolling on TikTok, overeating, oversleeping, these all drain our battery. These distractions are leaks that siphon away our energy and expend it on nothing. This is why we have to cultivate our willpower through clear standards and guidelines to focus our energy on our higher goals, and fire it like a precision laser. Someone whose energy isn't being stolen away is actually free to truly do what they want, instead of falling into self-destructive temptations. If as individuals we can begin to recalibrate ourselves along certain guardrails, we can become truly free again, and begin to light the fires of order and progress yet again. We can chase out the scavengers and redirect our gaze at a brighter future. It's been done before and it must be done again. When you stop feeding your impulses, the weight of those chains will diminish and you'll stand taller. Guardrails aren't prison walls. They're the tracks that let you move forward at full speed. Cut the distractions bleeding you dry. Focus your energy like a laser. That's how you take back your freedom, and that's how we turn the tide. You're a slave because you choose to be. So tell me, are you going to choose to be free, or are you just going to be a slave who pretends to be free? I'm Leo Light, and I know what I'm choosing. This has been another episode of the Imperial Synaxis. Subscribe, if you actually want to be free, that is.